Hey everybody, it's Monday and I am Anna with Adventures with Anna, and today I am here to show you the crochet projects that I have completed or worked on in the last week, to tell you ones that I have frogged, and to show you some new yarn that I got. And if you hear some noise in the background, I am making some hot water because it is cold. You notice I have 2 layers on today, a long sleeve shirt and a sweatshirt. Quite chilly. But anyway, I'm making some hot water in my coffee pot so that I can make myself a cup of hot tea to enjoy when I am done with this video. First off, last week I told you that I had a project and I couldn't show you what it was because I didn't have it. Well, if you watched later on in the week, I said that was a lie. I lied, I'm sorry. But the project was actually a birthday present for my husband. And I did do a video on that later in the week. So if you want to look at that, it says I lied, I'm sorry. Go check that out. What it was a pair of crochet gloves that I made for him for his birthday. I do not have them with me today. He actually has them in his pocket of his coat. But I do have some pictures that I took of the gloves. And if you didn't see the video, go back and check it out. But here's a couple of pictures of the gloves when I gave them to him for his birthday. Okay, another thing that I want to show you before I get started on my projects, my mom brought me some yarn this week. I did not buy this, it was given to me, and like I've mentioned before, a lot of the yarn that I've got has been given to me. So I've been making stocking caps and stuff to donate to people that need them for the winter. But anyway, here's the ones that she brought me. She got me some Red Heart Super Saver. And this is the purple tones. I like this. I like this. It's variegated. I like variegated yarns. The other one she brought me is another Red Heart Super Saver. And this one is the Grape Fizz, which I like this one too. Another variegated. And then she brought those like on Saturday, and then when she came to church on Sunday, she brought me some more yarn. She brought me this ball of green. Can't remember which side the camera's on, but anyway, this is kind of a light green color. Hopefully it's all the same color. And then she gave me this bag of this random stuff. So I think the green and this is probably baby yarn. And when I seen this, if you notice it's different colors wrapped up together, it immediately made me think, rainbow 10-stitch blanket. Now, I also posted a YouTube video tutorial here a while back, which I will put a link down in the description if you haven't seen it, on how to start a 10-stitch blanket. A Tunisian 10-stitch blanket. Not just any 10-stitch, Tunisian 10-stitch. I actually have 2 started, the rainbow 10-stitch being one of them, which it's just that. It is random scraps, like this ball here, just leftover bits and pieces. It's not really big enough to do anything else with. So I'll show you that first, and then we'll get on to the other projects and stuff that I've done this week. Actually, since my mom gave me that yarn, pull this ball out so it doesn't unravel. Since my mom gave me that yarn, it actually made me remember and want to get it out and work on it. So I've been working on this green. I did most of this last night, but this is what I have so far. And it's not really all that big. I do believe this is one of the projects I said I wanted to finish by the end of the year. I don't see it actually happening, but hey, it's a goal. And one thing I do, I'm not real worried about the back, since these are going to be for me, but I just tied the yarn together. So I've got all kinds of tails and stuff, and I'll probably just leave them. But anyway, I've got a bunch of more yarn to add to my 10-stitch blanket. Like I said, I'll put the link below on how to start a Tunisian 10-stitch blanket. They're really easy, they're really thick and warm. Another reason getting it out is because it's cold and I need to keep warm. Get this put back in the bag. Sounds like my water's about done. And with this 10-stitch blanket, the other one that I'm working on is different shades of brown. I think I'm using a J hook on it, but this one, here we go again, I'm using an I hook. And again, this is a Tunisian hook. It doesn't necessarily need to be a long Tunisian hook. With a 10-stitch blanket, you can use just a regular size crochet hook, because at the very most, you only have 10 loops on the hook. So, but this is what I started it with, so this is what I'm going to finish it with. Okay, and another thing on Monday, I showed a knitted project that I'd started with this yarn. It was actually the air plant hanger basket in knit, or air plant hanger holder in knit that I got with my Darn Good Yarns kit. I decided after I finished this one, this is the first one that I did, I was having trouble with the knit, understanding it, being a new knitter. Knitting in the round with double pointed needles was just a little more than I was ready to take on, I believe. So I went ahead and decided to give it a try with regular cotton, or no, this isn't cotton, regular crochet. So I made this hanger, followed the instructions, and as I said in my video, I do believe the instructions have some errors. I have contacted them about it. But anyway, I was able to figure it out because I am a crocheter. I've been crocheting for quite a while. But I like this. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I don't have any plans to put in it. Maybe I'll buy some when I go someplace, get some fake flowers or something to put in it. Or you could do anything with those. But anyway, I did that one, and then I was like, well, that's fun. I want to make another one. Which I just added this one to the Smelly Shack this morning. I'm going to sneeze. Goodness. Anyway, I made this one. These work up really quick. I can do these in a couple of hours. Like I said, once I figured it out. But I just hung this one in the Smelly Shack this morning. I still have my tail on the end because I didn't have my sewing needle with me. But one thing I did was put my tea bags in the little baskets. So I've got peppermint, just regular tea, and peach tea, which I think peach tea sounds good. Maybe that's what I'll make later. But anyway, these are pretty simple to make. And that is a paid pattern with Darn Good Yarns. It is not a free pattern. I will put the pattern link down below for you, so if you're interested, you can go purchase it. And the other thing that I did, which was actually with this yarn again, after I frogged the basket that I had started in knit, I decided, hey, I'm going to try a knit stocking hat. Well, I started from the bottom up with double pointed needles. Wasn't too bad, and then I was like, well, the needles are getting in my way. The farther I got, the needles were getting in my way. I'm not a knitter. I crochet. I am trying to learn to knit, but it doesn't work for me sometimes what I do. So I was like, okay, why don't I try those circular needles that I have? They're the same size as the knitting needles that I'm using. So I got the circular needles out that I had my washcloth on, my picture washcloth, and I used the double pointed needle that I wasn't using and stuffed all the stitches on there and put the hat on my double pointed needles, and I'm like, this is not gonna work. I had literally a mess. So I will show you a picture of that because I shared it with my crochet group and they're like, you need some smaller ones. So here's a picture of what I had, the mess that I had that was not gonna work. And one of the ladies on the group was like, well, I got some smaller ones. And I was like, okay, if you want to, let me borrow them, that'd be cool. So she brought them into town, but the only exception was I had to frog one of her projects as payment for borrowing her needles. It's like, not a problem, I can do that. So I got busy on that. She was in the process of making a sweater, a knitted sweater, and it wasn't going well. So I was like, sure. So I started working on that. And then I was like, well, I want to try those steel hooks that came in my crochet kit. And by steel hooks, I'm referring to the smaller needles like these. This is actually a 2mm, and I believe this is the one that I used when I did it. But I like these. These are way easier to work with than just the metal or aluminum needle. With this wooden handle on here, very easy to hang on to. I didn't have any trouble with it, and I thoroughly enjoyed working with it. obviously, as you will see here in just a second, let me zip this back up so it doesn't lose all my stuff. So what I did was I started to follow a pattern for a soap saver. And soap saver patterns that I've seen, a lot of them use crochet cotton, and I'm like, crochet cotton is not my idea of a soap saver because that's not what Grandma would have used. Anytime I think soap saver, I think, you know, Grandma had the crochet cotton ones made out of the cotton thread. So I had some with me. Don't ask me why, just had some random cotton thread with me. And I grabbed that steel hook. And this is the first one that I came up with. Now this is not the exact pattern that I started out following. The only thing that's the same on it is the very bottom. I like the solid bottom on there, that way as the soap gets smaller it won't completely slide out. But I also like the open stitch on this because it'll allow the bag to dry sooner and allow the soap to dry sooner than if you were to put it in a solid cotton yarn type bag. Now I made these bags to fit the type of soap that we use. Right now we have a bar of Lever 2000, so that's what I was gauging the bag for. I'm sure there's other bars of soap that would fit, but this is what we had. So the thought for this is close it up, and then you can wear it around your wrist so that you don't risk losing your soap in the shower, because sometimes it's not always safe or convenient to bend over in the shower to pick up your soap once you drop it. But this works perfect. I made this one for my husband, and I measured, and this fits his wrist about right. I actually made it a little too long, but it'll be alright. I tied it to where it was shorter. And then a similar type pattern. Now if you notice on this one, it's double crochet, but the next row, the double crochet is actually in the chain stitch instead of in the double crochet. Well, I made another one, and this one took me maybe 2 hours at the very most. And I made this one for me, a little bit different than the first one. The bottom I started out the same with, but on the pattern, instead of doing the next row up in the chain stitch in between, it's all this way up in the double crochets. So you double crochet and the chains are in the same space. And again, this one fits the bar so whoops, I about dropped it on the floor. Fits the bar so perfectly. And I made it to where it'll fit my wrist just fine. This one's a little bit taller, but it'll be fine. I'm looking forward to trying it out. I didn't want to use them before I showed them to you guys. But anyway, I created both of these basically in the same day. I made this one first during the daytime and then this one in the evening. Something else that I started, and this is the last project that I started this past week, and I'm actually going to finish it because I've been watching a channel on YouTube. It is Sheepishly Sharing, and I will put the link below for you if you'd like to check it out. She does a lot of charity work, like making hats and scarves to donate to charity. I mean, they're all stocking cap style, but they're different stitches and they're all unique and cool. So one thing that she has a video on is how to make a stocking cap, you know, just by dimension. So if you want to make it for like a 6 to 12-year-old, approximate size that you want to be around, and how tall the hat, etc. So I decided to use that method and make a hat with Tunisian crochet. Now you guys know how much I like Tunisian crochet, and I want you to know this is my own doing. I did not follow a pattern on this. I do not know what this stitch is called. I know I can tell you how to do it, but I do not know what it is called. But I've started the stocking hat, and this should fit like up to like a 12-year-old, 6 to 12-year-old by her measurements. And anyway, this is what the front side looks like. That is so cool, so cool. And I don't know how this happened, but the bottom of the hat looks really cool too. So I'm looking forward to finishing this. It'll be a really warm hat because on the back side you've got the ribs, which look like knitting, but of course it's not knitted, it's crocheted, because I'm using my long Tunisian crochet hook. I've tied the ends up because they're too long. This size hat will fit on my bamboo hooks. This will all fit, But when I get up so far, I don't like the way it bunches on there. I like to be able to spread my work out so it's not all bunched up in my hands. But anyway, I am really looking forward to finishing this hat this week. I think that is so pretty. And I found out, I thought I was going to do the same stitch. This is actually the second time I started this hat. I did it the first time, but I was having so much trouble making the stitch that I was like, surely there's a better way to do it. So instead of going in from the back, I said, well, maybe I'll just go in from the front. Well, when I frogged it out and started over, basically doing the same going in from the front instead of in from the back, it's a completely different stitch. I know, right? But anyway, yeah, and these, when these make beautiful hats done with Tunisian crochet, I think so. Plus, I've been out watching other YouTube videos on different styles of hats, using different stitches, and learning new things. And I'm really excited about it. So it's getting colder, so obviously hats and stuff like that are on my mind because I'm getting colder. And since my water's done, I think it's time to make some hot tea. So I'm gonna grab me a thing of peach. I'm gonna open it up. It smells like peach. I'm gonna put it in my cup. And I'm gonna go make me some tea. I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow with another video. See ya.